Now, this is something I would have loved to learn about in history class. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I am bringing you guys another review, and as you can see by the title, today's review is on the Netflix film The Trial of the Chicago 7. Let's get started. However, before we get started, y'all know I have to talk about the storyline, talk about the characters and all of that. And because of that, a spoiler alert is in effect. So for real, let's get started. Okay, so what is this film about? Well, it says over here, what was supposed to be a peaceful protest turned into a violent clash with the police. What followed was one of the most notorious trials in history. Okay, so let's start with my initial thoughts. The movie basically starts off with a basic history lesson, and we also get to see actual footage from the protest that happened in Chicago, as well as other footages from well-known people such as Martin Luther King Jr. and all of that just helps to tie the whole movie together with the events that happened in history, as well as get a quick history lesson if you are not educated. And on top of that, we also get to see the different people that formed the Chicago 7 eventually talk to their different parties as their leaders. I'm assuming they're leaders, and we see them talk about this convention and what they plan on doing there.
We want to underscore again that we're coming to Chicago peacefully, but whether we're given permits or not, we're coming.
We're going to Chicago to protest the Vietnam War.
And there's no place to be right now but in it.
And so that's a good way to start the film, because we get to see a little bit of history, then we get to meet the main characters, then we get to see what they were planning on doing when they got there to Chicago at that convention, and so we understand why they were there in the first place and what was going to happen, you know. So these characters, I do not remember their names, I just remember what they were doing, how they looked like, and how they made me feel. Okay, so the Chicago 7, well, first 8, because 8 people get arrested, but we'll get to that.
At the defense table,
Abby Hoffman, Jerry Rubin, Dave Dellinger, Rennie Davis, Lee Weiner, John Freund, Tom Hayden, and Bobby Seale.
I feel sorry for some of them. I feel kind of suspicious, and sometimes with some of them, like, you knew what was going to happen, you knew the plan. Some of them I liked because they were funny, they were witty. Some of them had very comedic lines that kind of sort of made the film a little bit light sometimes, which was necessary because this movie is heavy, y'all.
these defendants had a plan, and the plan was to incite a riot.
I call this portion of the trial with friends like these.
So I really liked those characters. The judge made me mad.
You're the first to suggest that I have discriminated against a black man.
Then let the record show that I'm the second.
Okay, as per usual, because supposed to be mad at the judge. The judge made me mad. The lawyer, which is played by what's his name? Gordon-Levitt. I forgot his first name. Why? No. I felt sorry for him, but at the same time, I was like, no, because I was kind of sort of at the fence with him, because you could see that he kind of knew it was right, what was the right thing to do, but because he was on the other side of this trial, you know, he kind of sort of had a conflict with himself, and, you know, kind of left me feeling a little sketchy, a little bit iffy about him and his character. You know, the other lawyer, you know, that was ripping the Chicago 7, you know, you really feel like he's really trying to get this point across, that the initial intention was not to cause this chaos that happened that day, but rather it ended up happening that stuff, but it wasn't planned.
The riots were started by the Chicago Police Department.
Sustained.
Nobody objected.
Jurors 6 and 11, they're with us.
Juror number 6 and juror number 11, you're dismissed from this jury.
Can you tell us why?
Because this is my courtroom.
So as I said, this movie, when they first arrested the 8 people that get arrested, but one of them, they find his charge, what is the word they use? I don't know, but like they didn't have any grounds to charge him, so they just dissolved his case, and then that's how it got down to 7. But I don't even know how many people were initially arrested, because when I searched up this movie just to find out what exactly happened, because I had never heard of this trial before, so I wanted to just get the basis to just understand what was happening, what's the point of it. I realized that there's other movies, there's a movie I saw that's called Chicago 10, and it's based off the same thing. So I don't know whether 10 people, 9 people, 8 or 7 people that were arrested, but eventually they all come back down to 7. So the most famous people is the Chicago 7. That's what they're called. Okay, so if I remember correctly, this whole incident happened in 1969. If I remember correctly, the whole trial happened in 1969. I think the protest happened in 1968, but then the court started in 1969, if I remember correctly. I'm not good with years. I'm not good with years, but bear with me. So these people went to this convention in Chicago to go protest, and it was supposed to be a peaceful protest. We're gonna get there and get this message across that they want these people to get right. So then they got there, and I don't know, something happened. Altercations happened with the police, and then it ended up being a whole clash with the police. People got hurt, a lot of people got hurt, and these 7 guys were then charged with they got charged for instigating this whole thing, and that they planned, that the whole point was to agitate the police and to get them to clash with the protesters. So the movie is 2 hours 10 minutes. Now, with a movie that long, I expect it to keep me intrigued at all times, because I don't have patience to be sitting through a movie that's over 2 hours long only for it to be boring. There were some moments that I was kind of sort of bored, but they were very minimal. And that was only because I get tired of focusing, and this movie requires you to focus and follow this trial and listen. Dialogue is very important in this movie, and she ain't got time for that, honey. She ain't got time for that. So sometimes I'll just doze off, and then I would have to take a break because the movie is very heavy and you have to focus a lot. So I'll just take a break, rejuvenate, and then come back and follow the story. So it wasn't necessarily boring. It's just that because you require a lot of focus to follow the dialogue and understand what is happening, especially because it bounces through a lot of different timelines. There's a lot of flashbacks, footage from the actual event, then there's things happening now in the court case, and then you see if when someone's taking the stand, what they say, does it match? So they show footage of the certain incident that they're being interrogated about, and so you have to focus through all these different things that happen, and now the visuals, oh my goodness, the visuals of the actual, not the actual protest, but like the visuals of the protest in the movie, so not the footage from 1969, but the ones that they reenacted now. That incident nearly brought me to tears, I'm not gonna lie, because you see the incident, the altercations, these people getting beaten by these policemen, and as this is happening, they throw in a few clips from the actual incident, and it's just like, it was so painful for me to watch. I almost fast forwarded through it because it was so painful. I don't like conflict really just gets me. So watching that and knowing that it's acting, but you know that that actually happened, and the fact that they put actual footage from that event in 1969 makes it even that more authentic and that much more real. That really, it almost brought me to tears, no lie. New history is being created, but the books stay the same. We're learning the same things our parents learned in history. That doesn't make sense to me. History progresses every day. New history is being made. So why aren't textbooks being, cultivated to incorporate the new history? No, we are learning about Jan van Riebeeck. We know about Jan van Riebeeck. We know about the dude, but it's fine. Let's move. Let me not vent. This is not about venting subject, about history. But I'm just saying that this is a good piece of history. I definitely went out and I did some more research by myself about what exactly happened that day. Because we all know that movies are gonna get facts wrong. They're gonna get facts wrong sometimes. So you gotta get your own stuff together. But that's what I like about movies, that even if they get some facts wrong, it actually makes you, or at least makes me for myself, go out and actually do some research for myself to find out what exactly happened on that day, that event, blah 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 blah. But this movie is very heavy. It is not something I like to watch, because movies this heavy just my heart. But it really reminded me of movies like The Hate You Give, you know, it gave me that same feel. Of course, the situations are completely different with the trial of the Chicago 7 and The Hate You Give, but it just gave me the same feel, the same vibe, you know. And the movie doesn't have a happy ending per se, but it does have a beautiful ending, and we also get to read basically what did happen to these people after they got charged, because they did get charged, and we see what happened. They were released, some of them died, some of them killed themselves, you know. So it's a very dark film with a dark ending, but the way it ends off visually, because the parts where we see what happened to them afterwards, you just read, they just pop up on the screen, just a paragraph, and you read. But where it ends visually, it is a very powerful ending, you know, with the dude reading out the names of the people that died in the war, you know, that really just, you know, it just gets choice, you know. It's a very beautiful ending. But yeah, that's all I have to say. So on that note, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, switch on post notifications, all that amazing stuff. Until next time, stay fit and stay cute. Bye.